Coming up, this past weekend marked the 50th anniversary of the Woodstock Festival. One man from Bowling Green remembers playing at the historic festival. And dozens of riders showed off their skills at the Special Olympics State Equestrian Competition. Plus, a correctional officer shortage is plaguing some of this country's prisons. And people on the inside say not only are they in danger, but those of us on the outside might be too.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 5:30 on Monday, August the 19th. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News This Morning. Yesterday was hot. Don't have to say that many times for you to understand that it was just not a fun day to be outside. Brandon, you're saying we could see much of the same today.
Similar, very close to the same temperatures we had yesterday, and maybe just a touch more humidity as we head through the daytime hours. So again, heat precautions in full effect. Let's take a look at what's going on currently. Again, no lights in the sky this morning. That's a light on the front of that camera there, reflecting off of the glass here outside the WYMT studios in Hazard, but fairly quiet, not too much going on here. One spot of some fog down into Harlan there, at least on the airport sensor, so some patchy fog is around. Be careful of that. A few clouds trying to roll in this morning, but they should start to thin out here pretty soon. Temperatures 60s to the south, 70s to the north, 74 and Jackson is the warmest spot in the region, 66 Harlan, Middlesboro, and Jonesville, some of the cooler spots this morning. Your day planner takes us basically 69, 70 there, all the way up to past 90 today. And again, maybe a stray chance for a passing shower or storm, but overall, just kind of a sunny day with some clouds at times. All right, the rest of the forecast and tell you what's expected for the rest of the week in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, we'll send it back over to you in just a bit. Thank you. Well, this past weekend marked the 50th anniversary of the Woodstock Festival back in 1969. An estimated 400,000 people descended on one farm in upstate New York for the original three-day concert of the biggest acts of the late 60s. Despite the rain and overcrowding, it did not become a disaster. It instead became a defining moment of the late 60s counterculture. One man from Bowling Green remembers playing at the historic festival alongside Tim Harden.
We had, as I say, one rehearsal, and it really wasn't enough. But I didn't think it would be a big deal anyway. I'm trying to remember if there had been concerts before that with as many people. I don't know if there had been.
A half-century later, the festival lives on as one of the most iconic moments in modern music history. The site itself is now listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Horse riding has become their passion. On Sunday, dozens of riders showed off their skills at the Special Olympics State Equestrian Competition. As Chelsea Jones explains, the riders have spent weeks preparing for the obstacles.
Riding a horse is not easy.
These athletes get to do something that 90% of the population is terrified to do.
But like with all things, the more you practice, the better you get.
I've been practicing for like 7 years now, I think, for like once a week.
Here at Lakeside Arena, it's the State Equestrian Competition of Special Olympics Kentucky.
They're coming in and doing a series of obstacles. They're all designed to challenge the athlete to keep the horse straight, carry an object.
More than 40 athletes competed in today's competition. To get to this point, they had to spend at least 10 weeks in training.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Amanda Bass, one of the riders, won first place.
I feel good.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, she did really well. She rode good, and she, like they said, she steered well, and that's kind of an issue with her sometimes.
No doubt Amanda loves winning, but she also loves the horses.
I feed them, I clean.
Competing with physical and intellectual disabilities, these riders say if they can do it, others can too.
If you ever fall off a horse, you shouldn't really quit there because, I mean, like that happens sometimes. You just have to keep on going, and eventually you'll get to a point where you won't really fall off.
In Frankfort, Chelsea Jones, WKYT.
This is the earliest the state equestrian competition has been held in many years. It is usually sometime between mid-September and early October. Jack Whittaker, a legendary sportscaster and World War II veteran, has died. Whittaker died Sunday morning in his sleep in Devon, Pennsylvania, of natural causes. He was a CBS sports announcer for 22 years, starting in the late 1950s. Whittaker called Super Bowl I for CBS Sports, as well as the 1973 Triple Crown race. He served in World War II from April 1943 to November of 1945. Whittaker was 95 years old. Former NFL running back Cedric Benson has died. He is most known for his time with the Cincinnati Bengals. Benson was killed in a motorcycle crash Saturday night in Austin, Texas. No information has been released about the crash. Benson played for the University of Texas from 2001 to 2004. He was a key player in the Longhorns' resurgence under Coach Mack Brown. Benson's 5,540 yards ranked second all-time at the university and 9th in NCAA history. He also won the Doak Walker Award in 2004, given to the nation's top running back. Benson was drafted overall number 4 by the Chicago Bears in 2005. He played 8 seasons in the NFL with the Bears, Bengals, and Packers. Benson was just 36. The Indiana National Guard says one soldier died in a tactical vehicle accident in Fort Hood, Texas. Staff Sergeant Andrew Michael St. John was on orders as an embedded observer controller trainer during Thursday night's accident. St. John was 29 years old. The father and husband from Greenwood, Indiana, had been previously deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Authorities say his cause of death is under investigation. Correctional officers brutally attack inmates, beaten, some left for dead, and dangerous felons escaping, turning up in towns far away. Those on the inside say the problem is critical understaffing in some of our country's prisons. With lockdown, here's Investigate TV's Lee Zurich in partnership with ProPublica and the Mississippi Center for Investigative Reporting.
He was literally sitting on those steps.
As he pulled up his lengthy driveway one afternoon, Russell Turner spotted a stranger sitting inches from his door. The man begged for a ride to the hospital.
I really just wanted the guy away from my house.
Turner invited the stranger into his car. With one hand on his hidden gun, Turner remained cautious, but also unaware that stranger was a criminal.
Yeah, he was a tough hombre.
You picked up a murderer.
I did. Yeah, I think about that all the time.
Turner picked up Michael Wilson, known as Pretty Boy Floyd, a twice convicted killer. Turner lives about 2 miles from the South Mississippi Correctional Institution. That afternoon, Wilson scaled the prison's 2 fences and escaped.
We found him over here.
Police caught him 60 miles south of the prison 2 days later. Turner owns the county's newspaper. His paper has covered the prison since it opened in 1990. He blames the escape on a serious manpower shortage at the prison.
It's beyond critical. I've used the expression, and some of my friends have as well, that the place has become a powder keg, really.
This helps illustrate the problem. According to the Bureau of Prisons, every federal prison has 9.3 inmates per correctional officer. But the prison up the road from Russell Turner's house has a whopping 23 inmates for every officer.
The numbers are alarming.
Mississippi's corrections commissioner blames low salaries. The state starts officers at around $12 an hour. At the start of the year, nearly half the jobs at the prison were vacant.
People can't afford to live on $24,900.
Low salaries and staffing shortage are not just Mississippi problems. According to the most recent Bureau of Labor statistics, many states on average pay their officers less than $20 an hour. From Idaho to Alabama, Indiana to Louisiana, North Carolina to Missouri, a total of 20 states. Officials in South Carolina,
correctional officers and staff should be better paid for the hard work they do.
And Texas.
Over the past 12 months, we have seen an increase in the number of correctional officer vacancies.
Call the pay and understaffing serious. As Russell Turner found out, if the nationwide problem isn't fixed, the danger inside a prison like this can show up on your front step.
The day that the inmates decide that they want to take over that facility for whatever reason, I'm convinced they can. And I don't know where the help would come from.
The inmates can take over the prison?
I'm convinced of that.
If they wanted to?
Sure.
Now, the Mississippi Department of Corrections denies that gangs run SMCI or any other prison. A spokeswoman said such an assertion contradicts the public safety mission of the agency. One Ohio man is accused of threatening to shoot up a Jewish community center. The police in Youngstown arrested 20-year-old James Reardon Jr. Friday after he made the threat on Instagram. The post included a video of a man shooting a gun and a tag of the Jewish Community Center of Youngstown. Investigators say Reardon's Instagram feed is full of anti-Semitic and white nationalist comments, as well as images of him shooting guns. Police say they found 2 semi-automatic assault rifles, 3 AR-15s, and ammunition at his home.
This is a person that has declared himself as a white nationalist. And with the hate crimes and everything else going on, we wanted to make sure that we did our part to make sure that this person was taken off the streets very quickly.
Reardon took part in the deadliest protests in Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017. He has an arraignment hearing later today in court. His bond is set at $250,000. The FBI has not yet said if they will pursue federal charges. One Virginia jogger is recovering after being attacked by a vicious rabid fox. Chelsea Donovan has more on that story.
It's a little bit of a blur exactly what all happened, but I ended up in a position where, he was coming at me and being aggressive.
What was trotting towards her was not another jogger.
It crossed the path, and then it swerved back on the path and came straight at me.
What Nina James Houseman first thought was a cat or coyote lurking in the distance was a vicious fox, a relentless one at that.
So I'm shuffling around and I'm moving, and he comes off, and then he comes around and he comes at me again. So I have to kick him. And these are not small kicks. These aren't like these are like full up, like he's airborne and into the bushes on the side of the path.
She kicked it at least 8 times before he finally skirted off the path.
I'm thinking, how many times am I going to have to kick this fox before he stops coming at me?
2 days later, Virginia Beach officials found a dead fox in the exact area of Nina's attack. The health department confirmed it tested positive for rabies.
It's puncture wounds, but it wasn't like he took a chunk out, thank goodness.
The fox left Nina with wounds on her upper thigh and knees. She says next time she hits the trail, she'll be prepared.
I will definitely take mace or like a retractable baton, something like that.
Now, Nina says she has already had 9 shots, including tetanus and rabies vaccines since the attack. She also has 3 more rounds to go to make sure she does not get sick. Later, one of James Bond's stunning Aston Martins recently sold for more than $6 million.
It's a lot of money. Hazy, hot, and somewhat humid conditions continue for a few more days across the mountains, but some relief is coming in the form of rain. I'll tell you more about it in about 3 minutes.